Hey everyone, welcome. Take a look around. We live in a world that is just literally bursting with information, right? Figuring out how all those different things connect is, well, it's kind of like finding a superpower. So in today's explainer, we're going to dive right into how we can uncover those hidden patterns and relationships swirling around us every single day.
Okay, so let's kick things off with a little ancient wisdom. Proverbs 13:20 says, "Whoever walks with the wise becomes wise." Now you might be wondering, why are we starting a math and data explainer here? Well, just like the people we hang out with shape our character and our future, mathematics gives us this super powerful visual way to map out connections and consequences using data. Basically, your outcomes reflect what you're connected to. So let's figure out how to actually plot those connections.
Here's our game plan for today. We're looking at the power of patterns, the three correlations, drawing the line, causation versus correlation, time to practice, and finally wrapping up with smarts, choices, and peace.
All right, Section 1, the power of patterns, visualizing data.
We all know we live in a pretty messy world full of raw data. Like, do more study hours actually guarantee higher test scores? Or is there a real link between how much screen time you get and how well you sleep at night? To figure that out, we need our ultimate data detective tool, the scatter plot. Just picture a giant X and Y axis filled with this cloud of dots. Every single dot represents a piece of real-world information mapping two variables against each other. It's called a scatter plot because, well, the dots are literally scattered all over the grid, but when you look really closely, they usually tell a pretty fascinating story. Moving right along to Section 2, the three correlations, positive, negative, and none. So once we have all those dots plotted out, we've got to know how to read them. As we look at that cloud of data, distinct patterns usually start to emerge. Let's break down the two main ones. First up, positive correlation. Think of this as an uphill climb. When one variable goes up, the other one goes right up with it. They rise together. Then on the flip side, we've got negative correlation. This one is more like a downhill slide. As one variable goes up, the other one actually drops down. This table is a perfect example of that positive correlation. Just imagine a few students prepping for a test, right? One student studies for just 1 hour and gets a 60%. Another studies for 3 hours and bumps that up to a 75%. And a third student studies for 5 hours and nails a 90%. If we plotted these pairs on our scatter plot, putting hours studied on the bottom x-axis and test scores on the side y-axis, you'd clearly see those dots climbing up a hill from left to right. Basically, more studying tends to equal better results. They go up together. Now let's look at the exact opposite, negative correlation. Check out this relationship between screen time and sleep. Let's say a student spends 2 hours on a screen and gets a solid 8 hours of sleep. Not bad. But bump that screen time to 4 hours and sleep drops to 6 hours. Push it all the way to 6 hours of screen time and suddenly they're only sleeping 5 hours. If we graph this, those dots would definitely slope downward. As screen time goes up, sleep goes down. It's a downhill trend that honestly tells a pretty crucial story about our daily habits. But hey, what happens when variables have literally nothing to do with each other? That brings us to our third category, no correlation. Think about something totally random, like shoe size versus your favorite movie. A person with a size 7 shoe might be absolutely obsessed with Star Wars, while someone rocking a size 11 prefers Finding Nemo. There is zero connection there. If we graph that, it wouldn't slope up or down at all. It would just look like a giant, completely random cloud of dots.
Okay, to sum all that up, you really just need a clean mental map of these three categories. Positive correlation means things increase together, like studying and grades. Negative correlation means as one thing goes up, the other drops, like screen time and sleep. And no correlation means there's just no link at all. Keep this quick summary in mind because it's the absolute foundation of reading data.
All right, Section 3, drawing the line, finding the general trend.
So, real-world data is almost never perfect. Those dots are rarely going to form a perfectly straight, beautiful line. So, what do we actually do when the dots are a bit scattered, but they still clearly point in an overall direction? Well, that is where we bring in the line of best fit. Imagine taking a ruler and trying to slice right through the absolute middle of your scatterplot cloud. The goal is to get about half the dots above your line and half below it. Now, it's not going to touch every single dot, but it completely reveals the general trend of the data. It's an amazing tool because it lets us instantly see the relationship and even predict what might happen in the future based on that trend.
Next up, Section 4, causation versus correlation, a critical thinking skill.
Before we go feeling like fortune tellers with our scatter plots, we have to watch out for a really common trap. And it's this:
Correlation does not always equal causation. Just because two things move together on a graph, even if it's a super strong positive or negative correlation, it doesn't automatically mean one actually caused the other. Sometimes there's this hidden third factor causing both, or sometimes it's literally just a coincidence. We have to be data detectives and think deeper than just the dots. We always need to ask why they're moving together before we jump to any crazy conclusions.
Okay, Section 5. Time to practice. Let's test your skills.
It's time to actually test drive these new skills with today's homework. First up, think about temperature versus ice cream sales. Is that an uphill, downhill, or totally random trend? Second, sketch out a scatter plot for height versus shoe size. Third, tackle that big critical thinking question we just talked about. Is correlation alone enough to prove causation? Fourth, explain what a line of best fit actually does in your own words. And finally, the fun part. Create your very own scatterplot using 6 data points of your choosing. Take a second, visualize those trends in your head, and then jump right into the work.
And finally, Section 6. Smarts, choices, and peace. Bringing it all together.
As we wrap up the math side of things, let's quickly shift gears to the philosophical core of what this Hero Smart Academy Godly Learner series is all about. Look, education without morality is ultimately going to hurt. Think about it. What is the point of being incredibly smart, of knowing exactly how to read any scatterplot in the world, if we just keep making bad choices that hurt ourselves and other people? Just like a scatterplot links an action to an outcome, our education has to be paired with strong moral character. If it isn't, all that intelligence is basically just plotted on a downward trend straight toward hurtful decisions.
But here is the beautiful thing. We actually have a line of best fit for our own lives. Romans 8, 6, and 7 promises peace of mind to everyone who keeps their mind spiritual. When we take our education and intertwine it with spiritual wisdom, we're establishing this incredibly powerful, positive correlation. The more we lean into a spiritual mindset, the more our lives naturally trend upward toward genuine peace of mind. And really, that's the ultimate pattern we all want to establish.
So I want to leave you with one final super important question to think about today. Look at your own daily habits, the people you hang around with, the choices you're making. What data points are you plotting in your life today? Are they just a random cloud of chaos? Are they trending downward? Or are you intentionally plotting points that are going to lead to a beautiful, moral, and peaceful life? Because remember, you are the author of your own scatterplot, so plot wisely. Thanks so much for hanging out with me on this explainer, and I'll catch you next time.